As you already know, the local library has great options for books, but did you know both Cache Creek and the Ashcroft Library has a great movie selection? From old classics, awesome 80s to new releases, Gareth and I chat about the recent movies I've borrowed and what we're currently watching. Check it out. Welcome back to another episode of Gareth and Dana Talk Movies here on the Hub Online Network. And we decided to chat about movies. I was telling Gareth that locally I like to go to the library and go and rent out library DVDs. One, you know what I like about renting at the library?
They're free.
They're free, but also they have old DVDs that I haven't watched forever that I want to watch, and I'm trying to think of something. And they have new ones. They have brand new ones. Okay, I know. So I just recently watched While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock.
Oh my! Who was the guy? Wasn't it Bill Pullman as the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other guy, which I can't think of his name, but he's.
Yeah, but he was the one that was sleeping though.
Yeah.
So who cares about him?
Well, he's still handsome.
As handsome as I am?
Nope. So, I watched that one. What else did I get to watch?
Well, it's one of the new ones.
The new ones I watched, Hustlers, with J-Lo.
Now, I made the mistake this morning because Dana told me about Hustlers, the movie.
The movie.
And I was like, you watched Hustler? And she didn't know what that was.
No.
So that's good for Dana.
That's good because I go to church every Sunday, so it'd be questionable if I...
But you were watching J-Lo as a stripper.
Well, it's based on a true story, actually.
Oh, so what's it about then?
And it was about taking down the corporate, greedy, bad guy. So essentially, it's about women being heroes.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. In
But
whatever way they choose.
Were they doing an illegal thing to become heroes, or were they staying within the law?
I think to start they were, but then I think basically it was a crime what they did.
It was kind of like Ocean's 8?
Yeah, no, kind of, but for the questionable and using questionable methods.
Interesting.
There we go, not bad for being
All right.
living. So those are some of the few new movies that I watched.
Well, so talking about the library really quick as a segue.
And I'll add that I have Judy that I'm renting, or that I rented, so I haven't watched it yet, and Yesterday, two brand new movies.
Yesterday is the one about the Beatles.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it is. And Judy being Judy Garland. And Reese, right, what's her name?
Reese Witherspoon?
Not Reese Witherspoon, who?
I don't know about this movie.
Renee Zellweger.
She's still acting?
She is, yeah.
Yikes.
She doesn't look like herself, per se, but...
She had a lot of work done?
She's had a lot of work done, yeah. Okay, sorry.
So I was just going to say, last time I had a library card, I listened to audiobooks.
You don't have a library card?
I don't. It's expired now. I
You're gonna get in trouble by the literacy.
Well, then I have a library card.
Okay.
But I listen to audiobooks, and so I went in there because I was going for a long drive, like working in the movies, and I went in and rented Game of Thrones, like one of the Game of Thrones books on audio tape.
No, you didn't.
I did.
And you watched the whole.
Well, and of course I've seen the whole show, but the show is different than the book.
Of course.
The books aren't even done yet. The show is done, but the books are going to be different.
Okay, and?
That's it. I was just saying that I got a library card to get audiobooks opposed to movies.
Oh, okay. And when you're listening to the audiobooks, are you imagining the actors while you're listening to the audiobook, or are you creating new characters?
It depends on
using your imagination.
If it's a show, like I'm going to talk about The Stand. So Stephen King's The Stand, which was a TV show that has now been filmed in Ashcroft recently, last couple of weeks. So there is another TV show called The Stand, based off the book, back in the 90s. Okay. And when I listened to the book, because it's my favorite, well, my second favorite Stephen King novel, I picture those actors in the roles.
Yeah.
right? Because it's really difficult not to do that.
No.
And it's actually funny, in that particular book, Stephen King has a preface, and he talks about how he doesn't necessarily want it to be a movie, even though it probably will be, because then you get the characters stuck in your mind as the actors.
Yeah.
Right? So now it's hard to listen or read The Shining
Yeah.
without having Jack Nicholson be the guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Catherine Bates in Misery.
Yeah, Kathy Bates.
I always think of her in that too.
Right? So anyway, it's a dangerous game, but yeah, it's like I can't read Harry Potter and not think of Daniel Radcliffe.
Right.
So anyway, I digress. But what movies or TV shows have you watched recently?
Actually, what I also rented from the Cache Creek Library was Smallville Season 5.
Ooh, that was filmed in Cloverdale.
Vancouver.
Vancouver, Cloverdale. It's all in the same area.
You know, and I don't think it's based on Smallville's not. I mean, it's Superman. But in the episode, this is season 5, so he just revealed that he is Superman.
Right.
To his girlfriend already knew. What is her name?
You know what? I have to admit, I am a comic book
you didn't watch it.
person,
Okay.
and I enjoy the movies, but I do not enjoy the CW shows.
Okay.
I've worked on enough of them, and I never watched Smallville as a kid, and I don't watch The Flash or Arrow or Supergirl or Legends of Tomorrow. I don't watch Riverdale.
Yeah, that one's weird. And Sabrina, the teenage
My niece.
creepy.
Well, that was a Netflix show. Sabrina's Netflix.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And my niece, when she comes up here, she's not allowed to watch stuff like Sabrina at home.
And of course you.
Because it's all about demons and devils and magic and witches
We
and
don't
stuff.
watch that stuff.
So when she comes up here, my wife is like, "Oh, you want to watch Sabrina? Pff, go ahead."
Your wife or you?
I didn't start watching it with them. Like I was out doing something and I came home and they're on like episode 3. And if it's on, I watch it.
Yeah.
But I'm not, they're on season 3 now and I haven't been like, "Ooh, Sabrina's on. I have to go watch Sabrina."
No, the thing is too, so I grew up with like a lot of no rules on like scary movies, so I didn't actually watch a lot of scary movies. I was really not that interested, not that Sabrina's scary, but I do remember watching a scary movie, and it's still to this day, I remember it being scary, and it was Jack Nicholson, and he was a werewolf in it.
Yeah, that would be, I believe that's actually called Werewolf.
Oh, and it's still to this day, I remember it, so.
Yep.
It's a reason why we don't watch scary movies when we're young.
If you want to watch a scary werewolf movie, watch An American Werewolf in London.
That's a good one.
That's
the
a
new
good
one
one.
or the old one?
The old one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched the new one.
New stuff's crud.
Okay.
I almost said a bad word.
So, yeah, that's what I watched. Smallville recently. Just watched one episode, maybe a couple episodes. And I don't know. It's just I like mindless television in the back while I'm working or doing something, or just to have.
Oh, so Smallville's a good show to watch
It
then.
is a good choice to watch. So that's what I've got. What about you?
So my wife's been away for the last couple of days. And I usually watch a lot of YouTube. I'm a YouTube guy. I'm a YouTuber. But I was watching a cartoon of Spawn. So Spawn is
Spider-Man's bad guy?
No, that's Venom.
Oh, okay.
Spawn is a comic book.
Okay. Got it.
That HBO did 3 seasons of a television show for. And it's about a guy that gets killed, but gets like betrayed by his best friend and goes to hell and becomes one of, not the devil, but like lieutenant of the devil's minion. And he gets sent back up to Earth to start the apocalypse.
Oh.
But he's not a bad guy, and he becomes like a vigilante, and he's trying to do good and fight with his inner self to not do bad things.
Natural bad guy self.
Right? So it's.
Just wants to be good.
But I've only made it like six or 7 episodes in, and then I got sucked back into YouTube again.
Oh.
I'm watching a thing called The Nostalgia Critic.
Oh.
And he talks about old movies and stuff like that. So.
I'm into lately like conspiracy theories on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So 5G being the recent one.
Yep.
That all these conspiracies. And then I watched somebody post it on Facebook saying, "Watch out, 5G!" And so I'm like, okay, well let's watch this. And I watched it and I thought, well, I'm one of those just like, well, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Oh well. But I wanted to see the opposite point of view, and I can't really decide whether it's true or not. But basically, 5G is little weapons in our pockets, and that they'll either destroy us or make us sick.
It's all about those radio waves, right?
Well, and then the video that I was watching combated it and said it's really, yes, the 5G does have negative things about it, but it's not that big of a deal. So I'm guessing similar to
there's
coronavirus.
there's different versions of 5G. There's the one that's weaponized for military,
right?
And then there's the one that they go, okay, well, how can we put this into everybody's daily life to make their lives better?
Yeah.
The scary thing is what we have really making our lives better, or is it the military version? So if someone said that the government said enough is enough and they flipped the switch,
yeah.
Now it's a military device and everybody gets blown up because...
Or do we wake up in the Matrix?
There you go. Bringing it back to movies. My mom, despite everything, because she's, you wouldn't look at her and think that she would like the Matrix.
Yeah.
But man, she would,
yeah.
Back in the early 2000s, just after the Matrix had come out, she has a craft room, and she sits in her room and she crafts and she makes bath salts and all sorts of stuff, and she would have like the Matrix playing or the Patriot, like a bunch of violent movies. And then she turns around and she's like, you just wouldn't expect that from her.
Yeah,
Some of the things that she likes is really out of character.
My mom and my grandma are both, where my grandma was really into movies a lot too, but you'd always hear her swearing and talking to the TVs when it was about a bad guy. But my mom's really into, well, my whole family is really into the sci-fi nerdy stuff.
Do you watch any British television?
British?
No. No top of the morning to you? No. Oh, is that Irish?
That's Irish.
Anyway, my wife and I are also watching, so when she gets back, we're watching Red Dwarf, which is about a guy in space who got put into stasis because he got in trouble and he goes into stasis.
I think you were telling me about this.
And then radiation kills everybody on the ship and he's the only human alive. 3 million years goes by, he gets released from stasis, and it's about him, his roommate that is now a hologram, and a life form, like a person that looks like a guy, but is a evolved form of a cat that he brought on board.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good. And they're just going through space.
Does it talk?
Yep, it's a person, and he's really well dressed, and it's
evolved into a cat. Or a cat evolved into a person.
Correct. Over 3 million years. Yeah, he's got sharp teeth, and he preens himself, and he's gonna wash his clothes. So he grabs his clothes, and he's like,
I can't watch that.
It's funny.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, that sounds like you're busy watching lots of different shows.
Well, I'm also part of this play that's going on in town.
Oh yes, let's promote the play.
So, if you have never heard of Agatha Christie's A Murder is Announced, you got to come down to the Ashcroft Hub starting on the 12th of March. Happening here, it's a murder mystery. Who done it? I play the inspector.
Is there anyone else in the play?
Well, really, it's a one-man show. I mean, there's other people on.
The whole community.
There's other people on stage, but when I'm on stage, it's all about this guy.
I can't wait to watch it. I've seen the set. I've been able to watch it all get being built, so I'm excited to be in the audience and get to watch and maybe heckle.
Heckle? Throw Rotten Tomatoes at us?
You? No, just you.
Just me?
Yeah.
Our volunteer Jan Schmitz has been making videos about the play. So you can check that out at, I don't think he's put it up on our...
Where can you probably check it out on our network soon?
Yes.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So because I'm watching this Nostalgia Critic fella, what he does is he essentially takes movies and he distills it into about half an hour. So I feel like I've watched probably 100 movies in the last 3 weeks. Because I've been watching, like I just put this thing on in the background and I just listen to it.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
If you don't have time to watch movies, check out the Nostalgia Critic. He just gets through them.
And if you don't like watching movies or feel like watching, go check out the play here in Ashcroft. When is the play again?
March 12th to 15th. So Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday matinee, Saturday night, and Sunday matinee.
All right. Thanks so much for watching. Well, that's it for our show. I'm Dana Foster, and you're watching the Hub Online Network. Join us next time for more local stories and interviews on Exploring Blue Sky.